Hi everyone. As you can see on the bench now, I have a Nombrex C R Bridge Type 62. Now, is this little unit going to work, or what shall we find? One thing I did notice is that the back cover is missing, as it was on the other Nombrex unit I had, so that does seem a bit odd. So let's open this up and let's have a look, see what we've got. Okay, the unit is open, and as you can see, soldering joints don't look that good. Let's see the other side. So there we are. Let's just zoom in slightly on this. Sorry about the camera shake, it's not mounted very well. Right, as you can see, we have the battery holder there, the range switch. Now, I have discovered the circuit for this, so let's move that out the way and bring in the circuit. Not sure if that's very clear, but we do have the parts list at the bottom here, and I have gone through and actually marked the values on the circuit. Also, I did find a layout. That's not very clear, is it? But according to the layout, I can see that there are some changes to what I have here. For instance, those two diodes there, they've been changed. So there are some differences here. So I think at some point someone has been here and done a few modifications. I think the next step will be to put some power on this and see if we have any signs of life. Okay, I've connected this up. I've had a look over the board. I've touched up one or two solder joints. So let's actually see. We do have signs of life. Not sure if you can actually see, but the magic eye has lit up. So if I turn some of these, you can see we do have something happening there, but I've got nothing connected to it. So let's turn this round to the L position, and you could see that light flashed, and apparently, according to that list, if there's a short circuit or a leakage capacitor, this light is supposed to flash. So if I maybe short these terminals out, that light has lit as I've shorted the terminals out. So interestingly enough, this does appear to have some life. So I think the next step would be to put this back in its box. I think I'll need to give the board a bit of a clean the switch, etc. Put this back in its box, and let's see if we can test anything. Also, what I want to do is to build a power unit for this, as I did the other one, so I can run this from 12 volts. So there will be a voltage regulator, 7805. There will be a set resistor there. Here we'll have 12 volts plus 0 volts, a capacitor, input capacitor with a 0.1 across that, output capacitor plus, and 0.1 across that, and a 0.1 across that, and we set that to give 9 volts plus out. So it's as simple as that. I did this on the other Nombrex, so it's a lot easier to power from 12 volts than to mess around with batteries that can leak, and you know the score on that. So there we go. I think the thing to do now is to put this back, power it up, and see if it actually can test anything. I've now connected a capacitance box. Let's select a 0.01. That's range. Where are we on this? 0.01 is 1 and 5. That should be 0.01. So I see, it's on one there. That's on one. Although I've got 0.01 is right down there. But maybe that's on that range. Let's see. No. There's nothing on that range. 0.01 range. That seems to be up there, 1. I don't know why it's got 0.01 down at the bottom there. That seems to be registering there. Switch 1. Oh no, that's electrolytic. Don't want that. So it's range 1. On 5. Let's try 4. That should be 4,700. 4,700 picofarad. So that according to this scale, that don't seem to be doing anything. That don't seem to be doing anything on that scat on there. Range 2 and 3, that should be 0.1. So if I go there, doesn't seem to be doing anything. So maybe there is a problem on this. That scale doesn't seem to be doing anything on that. Let's try an electrolytic. That is on 1 microfarad. That's on 1 microfarad. See if we get anything. Don't seem to be anything on the capacitant ranges. So it looks as if there could be a fault on the capacitance ranges. Yes, that's not showing anything on capacitance. That's showing that there's a leaky capacitor there for some reason. there's no, not working on capacitance at all. So this actually needs to be looked into. 2.2 microfarad. There should be something round about there, but there's actually nothing. So it looks as if the capacitance range is naff on this, which that's a little bit of a nuisance, isn't it? So that needs looking into. So that's a job for another day. That needs to come apart again, and we shall see if we can't get that fixed. That will be a shame, because that is quite a handy little unit. Whether or not it would be used, I mean, there's much better capacitance and resistance testers now, but as this was built in the 60s, it would be nice to bring the thing back to life. Looking at the circuit on the capacitance ranges, there can't be an awful lot that can be wrong. Unless, of course, one of these capacitors in this unit has gone naff. Maybe that will be the next thing to do, is to replace some of these old caps. So it would appear that a couple of the capacitance ranges are not working, or there is something a little odd about this, so further investigation is going to be necessary. Having looked into this quite deeply, it would appear that this has been tampered with in the past. If I turn it over, there were diodes that were changed. There's a silicon transistor there. It should have been a germanium. And also I noticed some of these capacitors, these 0.01s, have been changed. There's a new electrolytic capacitor there. There's one there. So obviously this has been changed. It does appear to work on resistance, but not capacitance. So this is going to take a bit more work. So is it really worth it? We shall see. I have been into this. I have replaced several capacitors, and it does appear to have come back to life. I have connected a resistance box let's power this on. Not sure if you can actually see I've got a 22 ohm resistor there, so we'll select the first range and why is that not? This was actually working. Let's try a 1K. Well, that's interesting. This was actually working, and now it seems to have there we go. Right, 1.8K, and that's on the 2 there. Let's do a 1K. Yes, for some reason right, I'm on 10K and it's reading a 1 at the top there. So there's 1.52. So if I go to 4.7, there, 4. Yes, 4, almost to the 5. So it's reading a 4.7. If I go a 10K, that should be, yes, there you go. So it's working on resistance. There's not really much point in doing any more resistance, so let's disconnect this and let's connect the capacitance box up. I did change some of the capacitors in the unit and it has seemed to come back to life. I don't think that this will ever be used, as there's far more better resistance and capacitance meters out there. So we'll select the capacitance range. We'll select on here 1000 picofarads. So see if we right, there we go. On the inner range, that's on the 1000 picofarads. Let's go to 2200. That should That's the maximum range there. Let's go to it's very, very iffy. That's a 0.022. Seems to be on that range. To be perfectly honest, I don't think that this will be of any use. If I go up to 1 microfarad, then yes, you can see that's on the 1 and it is reading 1 microfarad. And it's showing that there's no leakage. The light did come on but then went off, so there's no leakage. So basically that's it really. The unit is working, although it's not very easy to read. I think the thing to do is to put this back in its case, give it a clean and leave it at that. To be honest, it will never be used. As I say, there's much better capacitance and resistance meters nowadays. But you've got to remember that in the 60s, what did we have? We had the old Avo meters, all analog. There was no digital in them days. So I guess at that time this was a fairly sophisticated thing. Whether or not this is worth anything, I don't know. But I hope you found the video interesting. As I say, this will be put back in its case and added to my stock of ancient test equipment. Thanks for watching.